Ronda Rousey's time in WWE didn't end with a grand finale, but a quiet walk out the door. For years, most people accepted the simple story. They'd point to her contract, her dream of starting a family, or that infamous war she waged with the ungrateful fans. It's a nice, clean narrative. But the real story of why she left for good is way more complicated and, frankly, darker. It's a story about a dangerous medical secret she was forced to hide, a champion's career stifled by backstage chaos, and a final frustration that made it impossible to stay. This isn't the official story. This is what really happened. The fairy tale beginning. To get why it ended, you have to remember how it all started. When Ronda Rousey joined WWE full-time in 2018, it was a perfect match. At the time, she was arguably the most dominant athlete alive, a UFC Hall of Famer, and a genuine global superstar. WWE knew they had a diamond, and at first, they treated her like one. Her debut match at WrestleMania 34 is still talked about as one of the best debuts ever. Teaming with Kurt Angle against Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, Rousey looked like she was born for the wrestling ring. Behind the scenes, the company gave her its full support. Triple H and Stephanie McMahon were her personal guides. Agents and veterans helped her put together a flawless performance. As she said, WWE rolled out the red carpet for her, and it paid off. The fans were electric. She won the Raw Women's Championship, and a year later, she was making history in the first-ever women's main event at WrestleMania alongside Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. On the surface, it was a dream run. When she first stepped away after that historic match, the official story was simple. She was taking a break to start a family. That's a reason she's confirmed was a huge factor, especially since the demanding WWE road schedule became an impossible sacrifice for her family. And for most, the story ended there, a perfect run, followed by a new chapter in her life. But that's where the fairy tale started to unravel. The fan mutiny and a toxic turn. The first cracks started showing in the arenas. The same fans who once chanted her name began turning on her with a viciousness that was shocking to see. Rousey, a legit fighter who built her name on real combat, had a tough time connecting with a crowd that started booing her and cheering for whoever she was facing. As the pressure built, Rousey did something you just don't do in wrestling. She called it fake. To the fans, and more importantly, the wrestlers in the locker room, this was the ultimate insult. The comment felt like a slap in the face to everyone who had ever sacrificed their body for the business. The backlash was immediate and harsh, with a new story forming. Rousey was an outsider who didn't respect the art form. Rousey later described the fans as ungrateful, asking why she should pour her energy into people who didn't appreciate it. That just added fuel to the fire. The relationship seemed broken. While she later explained the fake comments were her attempt at being a true heel, someone who poses a real threat to what fans love, the damage was done. The cheers had turned to poison. But as bad as things were getting in front of the camera, it was getting even worse behind it. The backstage betrayal. Under Vince McMahon. Remember that red carpet WWE rolled out? According to Ronda, it was yanked right out from under her. The support system that made her first year so great was gone. In its place was what she called the chaotic and needlessly stressful death throes of the Vince McMahon era. She said the creative process was like showing up to host a live TV show, only to find out nobody had written any scripts. Match plans would change at the last second, creating needless anxiety that killed any passion for performing. She felt that instead of being set up for success, she was constantly fighting Vince McMahon and his chaotic system just to have a decent match. She said she didn't care what Vince thought of her matches. She just wanted to do great work, and his process was making that almost impossible. This chaos led to immense frustration. In a candid admission, she revealed that she told Triple H directly, "I can't be associated with mediocrity." She felt the company was settling for a mediocre product, something her champion's mindset couldn't stand. It was a huge betrayal. WWE had one of the biggest combat sports stars on the planet, and instead of building a dynasty, they let her down with creative dysfunction. She's even said she wishes her entire run had been under the Triple H regime she'd heard so much about. But even all that, the fan hate and the creative frustration, was hiding a much more serious truth: the career-ending secret. The final reason Ronda Rousey had to walk away from both WWE and UFC was a choice her body made for her. In her memoir, Our Fight, and in recent interviews, Rousey revealed a secret she had hidden her entire combat sports career: a long and severe history with concussions. This wasn't new. The damage started way back in her Olympic judo days, long before UFC. She admitted to compounding concussion after concussion for so many years, often training through the symptoms because she saw it as a weakness, not the serious neurological injury it was. For much of her early career, she was suffering from concussion symptoms more often than not. She hid this from everyone, worried that if UFC knew, they'd never let her fight. Her whole explosive MMA fighting style was built around this secret: end the fight fast to avoid getting hit in the head. But the damage added up. She said that by the end of her UFC career, even light shots were causing major symptoms. It got to a point where she was no longer neurologically fit to compete. This secret followed her to WWE. Had they known the extent of her injuries, she probably never would have been hired. That was the unbreakable limit. She couldn't keep going. Her body was done. She said it plainly. That's basically why I had to retire. It wasn't just a choice she made. Her body forced it on her. She now talks about moments where she forgets the words to a lullaby for her daughter or gets lost on a familiar street, a terrifying, constant reminder of the price she paid. Ronda Rousey's story is a raw look at the sacrifices athletes make and the brutal environments they can face. What do you think? Did Ronda make the right call walking away? Let us know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives like this, hit that subscribe button and join the conversation. So why did Ronda Rousey really quit WWE? It wasn't just one thing, but a total collapse on all fronts. It was a fan base that turned on her, a creative system under Vince McMahon that frustrated her, and the massive challenge of balancing a chaotic career with a growing family. But the one reason that overrode everything else was the secret she'd been keeping for years: a history of concussions that made it physically unsafe for her to ever step in a ring again. She didn't just walk away from WWE, she had to save herself from it.